here. I was just in the Annandale parade. And I had two different people that I tried to give them my brochure. They're not in the district, we're just tourists here. And two different people asked me if we still had no wake zones on our lakes. Now the problem with that is you're going to have enforcement, measurement. The DNR does not want anything to do with it. They said no wake zones have nothing, no benefit to the lake at all. One storm will wipe out a whole year of no wake zones. We also have inside our own county here, there's 294 lakes. We have some rules out of this county that contradict the boating rules published by the DNR. So you get people that come in here and vote based on those rules. And Wright County has their own set of rules that are in the books over here. Nobody else would know that if they just come here. I live up in Corinth.
You know what? Maybe we should go to 2 minutes because.
You want to go 2 minutes?
Okay. 2 minutes to get a little more time. Does that sound better? 2 minutes. Okay.
So you want to?
Sorry.
If you just raise your hand, like say 5 or 10 seconds before time's up, then you wouldn't have to say it.
It doesn't bother me to say it.
No, I mean, it seems rude.
Oh, it seems. Sorry.
You're doing fine, Terry. Don't worry.
Okay. You want me to raise my hand? I'll go over there and raise my hand. Well, because he's got to say something.
Sure, you want to sit like Vic and.
Well, they're not always looking at me either.
Well, you can say like 10 seconds or something.
I'm going to keep with time.
That's fine. Okay, how about a question off the landfill subject? Is that Mr. Norton?
I have a question. Basically, 2 out of 3 have talked about the property taxes, that the value's going down and our property taxes are going up. Looking at the budget, where are you going to cut it? I mean, you said you'd hold the line. I'm saying, how about we cut it, or cut it a percentage? Where would you potentially first look to cut it?
Well, talking to some constituents in the county, I believe our county is very efficient in their budget. If you get a chance to look at it, which you might have a tough time finding it, we are pretty close to netting out. There's not a lot of fluff in there. You're going to have to cut from some departments, the police department, you're going to have to cut from supervision of different departments. That's going to be tough to do when you have good programs. There's the social service programs in there and so on. So you're not going to find a lot of fluff in there to cut. I think you can hold it so we don't get that 10% increase, 40% increase. But I think they're working on a very tight budget that might be, I heard at one point, looking at the budget, there's maybe $200,000 of gray area of money at the end of the year that the county can spend as they want. But if you take that away, you always have to have a budget that has a little bit of cushion because of emergency. I don't think you can come in and say we're cutting 5%, 10% on the police department, sheriff's department, or child care, or there's all sorts of other programs. It's going to be tough to cut. I think they've done a good job in our Wright County with the cities and with the different municipalities, townships, and so on. That's my belief. I think we can hold a line, but I don't know if we're going to be able to cut. Then you're going to have a lot of fun where you're going to cut. Good question.
Okay. Well, see, I disagree with that because everybody in this room is based on small, little increases in your incomes. At the same time, our county budgets are going up, our state budgets are going up, and our federal budgets are going up. So we're locking in higher costs for property taxes. I have somebody who has 3 houses for me who's been trying to sell their house for 2 years. Their property value tax went from $350 last year to $1,700 this year. They just bonded a new school in Annandale, and they bonded it by saying, don't worry about it. The lakeshore owners will pay for it.
Yeah.
But there's three lake homeowners that I know of personally. One's a widower, one's got medical issues, has to move back to the cities, and the other one's got dementia. They're trying to sell their houses, but the values have sunk so much. And by doing things like no wake zones, where we need more enforcement, it's not even where we cut, it's stop building the county up. I just saw that they're buying Clearwater's law enforcement for 25 cents on the dollar. It looks like our property taxes are tagged for 38 cents. 38% of our budget is law enforcement. They're given the same services to Clearwater for 25%. and saying it's a great deal. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Annandale has their own police department, but there's a few places that do. If they can't afford their own police department, we should be charging from the county what the real costs are for that law enforcement.
As people are losing their homes and walking away from their homes because so many people have an upside down mortgage, which means that the people that are still in their homes and the businesses are paying an increase in taxes, we have to look at cutting our budget. We have to look at a decrease because we can't, maintain that forever. So I think, across the board is a fair way to go. I think flat tax is a fair way to go. But so I would definitely, look at asking the departments, let's cut your budget. Someone said we could cut 1% this year, 1% that. I thought that was a great suggestion. You need to keep people in their comfort zone too, so they don't all panic like they did in, Wisconsin with Walker. And that he kind of said, I think I pushed a little too fast, but obviously we know that it worked out well in the end when people realized what was going on. But, so I think we need to not be too dramatic when we address this, but we do have to address that. We need to cut.
Okay.
Well, I
Yeah.
just had a comment. I was on the City of Buffalo website, looking at the budget. Looking at the budget, and the numbers, looking at the numbers, they didn't mean a lot to me, but as I scroll down, you see the bar graph, the revenue and the expenses are figured out. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous that they're spending more money than they're taking in. We need to cut. I guess that's just a comment from someone who really doesn't pay attention to a lot of it, but I know, my household will cut it if we need to.
If I can put a shameless plug in for our website, we do have the county budgets on the website from 2005, I think it is, up through 2010. And we've started to put some analysis out there. We've currently got year-by-year revenue streams, so you can see year by year where money is coming from or coming into Wright County from. And it's kind of interesting to see, it's all in one.
These were just the last 2 years, or 2010, 2011. It did go down, but I mean, the graph, between expenses and revenue, it would never work in any household.
Sure. Okay, next question. Mr. O'Neill.
I just wondering if you guys have heard of Agenda 21 and if you've seen any implementation of that agenda here in Wright County and what your stance is on it.
Well, Agenda 21 is an abomination. And as I started looking into I first got involved with the county when I remodeled my house on Bass Lake and had to buy 2 permits, one from Corinna and one from Wright, because they had decided that they were going to take away the permitting process from Corinna. So as I look into that, we have a gentleman that belongs to communitygrowth.net. I have a file that's that thick on it, communitygrowth.net, and all those links. They're all linked to ICLE, I-C-L-C-E. They are all linked to global warming. They're all linked to the UN. This is the takeover. Basically, what they want to do is move us all into the cities and live next to the train, and nobody will be out here. Those lakes will be pristine. They'll be nice because nobody will be living on them. And that's basically what Agenda 21 is. And it's been signed by our president, and it is being enacted. And that, to me, seeing Corinna using that particular organization and who they link to for planning, to me is a problem. That's not the people I want planning my village or my town.
Yeah, essentially, you kind of look at it as a false religion, when you start worshiping the Mother Earth and that kind of thing, as opposed to, worshiping our Creator. And I haven't done a lot of research on Agenda 21, but that's my take on it. I would agree with Tom.
Always nice to be last because you listen to the other speakers and give you all the fuel for your comments. here have heard about 21. Okay, all of you have. So the publicity is out there. And I think as you read the information, as the two candidates have indicated, if you look at it, maybe from my perspective, because I'm kind of new learning some of this information, that as we digest it, we have power as a group, as citizens who have a backlash on this. And if we don't have a backlash, it's probably going to take many years to formulate and so on. So I think we need to be informed. And to be informed, you have to read, you have to listen, you have to talk about it, and then you have to gather as a group or as a citizen and take action on it. Thank you.
Sure.
So as a commissioner, did you just say I'm for it or against it?
Am I for it or against it? Well, I saw the hands here, and I'm sorry, 99%
I'm
against it, yeah. Thank you.
You're for it?
I'm against the philosophy of doing it. I want to hold 21. Okay, that's not in my philosophy as an individual. I want the private decision to be made by myself as a citizen. Good question.
Tom, do you want to respond to that question as well?
Yeah, actually, Agenda 21 is designed to take away all of our individual rights, including now we're trying to get the small arms treaty signed and take away our Second Amendment. Now, I'm an oath keeper, and that to me, there's a little word on the internet called tripwire. That would just be one of the tripwires of basically anarchy in this country is if they try and take our guns away. Go to the Oath Keepers site, they'll bring up the speed and all this stuff. Or you can ask me, I'll give you 10 orders that Oath Keepers will not obey. And the first one is disarming citizens in America. That's small arms treaty.
Christine, do you want to have a additional comment on that?
Well, I just spoke with somebody actually about the Second Amendment rights of doing door knocking, and he asked me my stance, and I said, of course I support our Second Amendment rights. And
Can't hear you.
oh, I was doing some door knocking, and a gentleman asked me what my stance was on the Second Amendment rights, and I said, of course I'm for our Second Amendment rights. I support all of our Bill of Rights. And he basically said, you know, they're gonna, if Obama gets reelected, that is going to be, you know, on the agenda. That's one of the first things that's gonna happen. And I said, I know, it kind of encourages us as citizens to not follow the government, you know, because how could we go along with that when they took away the gun rights in Australia? I mean, burglaries, home invasions, crime absolutely soared. People had, you know, they had no recourse because they had taken away their guns. And in America, you never know if you're breaking into somebody's house if they've got a gun or not. So I think that that's one of the things that keeps us free.
Next. Nobody else?
Time.
Who's up next?
I think Tom does. I don't know.
Tom, when you're given a pot of money and you sit down at the table for budget, can you give us some parameters as to how it is that you would work through a budget? And set a budget?
I've got a financial analyst that works for Freemake as a wife. So if there's any pots around, she gets it. I get the loose change. Actually, everything we own is paid for. I've got a very cynical view of where our global economy is heading right now. And if the euro keeps going the direction it is, it'll drag the dollar with it. My suggestion is the Ramsey program is pay for everything we can, get out of debt, pay for your cars, your houses, don't use borrowed money. And basically, you have luck there. I can spend money